Hello and welcome back to another episode of Love It or Shove It. This is the talk show where we talk about the relationships. How do we develop better relationships to understand ourselves so we can understand better our partners? And if this is the first time you are tuning in, welcome to this space. My name is Irina Portnova. I am helping you. How do you actually attract your best match? The partner that you truly desire, somebody who is matching your qualities, and how to make it fun and effortless experience. And I am here with Bruno Gill, who is my co-host. Bruno, would you like to say a couple of words about yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Bruno. I am a self-love coach. I work primarily with women. I help women love themselves more, be more confident, be more authentic, and obviously be more expressive. But yeah, mainly be more confident towards what they desire to be in life. Their more authentic, fulfilled version of themselves. Yes.
Hmm. So today we have a fun topic, and I wanted to start with the question: when something feels off in the relationship, what's the first instinct that you might be having? Maybe you want to text again the person. Maybe you try to explain yourself one more time. Maybe you are pushing for the answers, or you want to solve the problem right away. So most of people have been taught that if something is not working, we need to do more. We need to do more talking, we need to do more fixing, we need to put more effort. But what if the breakthrough isn't found in doing more, but actually creating the space? Not space to disconnect, but the space that actually allowing the people to breathe, to listen, to reflect, and to rest, to allow love to unfold instead of forcing it, right? Because again, we are learning through this beautiful journey that sometimes we do not receive the answers right away. All it requires from us just to step back and allow the things to unfold naturally. And when we create that space, we are actually making a little more room for clarity, a little bit more room of understanding where we are, how our partner acted, what did it mean for us. And it also helps us to understand ourselves and our partner better. So, why space allows emotion to settle before conversation begin? Because we all know what it feels like when the emotions start running us. And when emotions are running high, we are usually reacting from hurt instead of responding with love. Think about the last disagreement you had. Maybe one of you raised the voice, maybe one of you was feeling like shutting down. In that moment, neither person was truly listening. Both were trying to protect themselves. And now, if we can put a different scenario, a different approach, one partner gently says, I care too much about us to keep talking while we are both upset. Can we take a little time and come back to this later when we are both in better vibes? And now, instead of feeling abandoned, the other partner feels respected because the pause isn't about avoiding the conversation, it's actually about protecting it. And then, when the time is right, it could be a couple of hours, it could be a couple of days, whatever people feel connected again, the emotions are actually settled. And now the conversation becomes more softer, and now both people can finally hear each other instead of defending themselves. So sometimes the pause isn't there to create the distance, but it's more to understand ourselves. And I have a great tool for that. It's called Relationship Tool, Create a Pause Agreement. Again, it's always great to have something with your partner where you are saying, okay, when the emotions start running high and we both feel overwhelmed, let's just take a break with the commitment to return and continue the conversation when we are both ready. Now, at least everybody knows what to expect from each other. And hey, Zaina, it's great to see you with us. And now it doesn't feel that, we are ignored or somebody just brushing us off. Yes, Zaina, I totally agree. Such a sensitive topic. And I feel it doesn't matter where people are at their relationship journey. Maybe somebody says, oh, you know what? Everything is great with me and my partner, but there is always a way for us to learn and grow better. So I feel this is a very, very good conversation we are having. Bruno, what is your take on that?
Yeah, so sometimes the answer is not always space because sometimes people need space, sometimes people really need it. Sometimes people just use it as an excuse to not face the reality of the situation, you know, to not admit blame or to not take accountability. Sometimes people do say like, oh, no, I just need some space right now. I'm like, okay, fine, but you needing space once to talk about something, okay. But you always needing space when the actual like conversation arises. It's not you actually needing space. Is you actually like situations like that can happen, right? Where people either really need space or they always say they need space for the same thing, and you end up never speaking about it and never talking about it because you don't want to face the reality of what you either have to say, you don't want to admit that a problem, or you're just afraid of the outcome. So when you're afraid of an outcome, uh, you either need space or you never have time to talk about it, you never want to admit it, you just don't want to yeah, for it to arise, for it to ever be a topic. um yeah, but sometimes the answer is space, and I think space is better to calm down than to just kind of say the wrong thing, than to just kind of like because it's like you were saying, right? Like when tensions are high, you say a lot of things that you think like you can take back, but you can't because you've already put that into reality, and the person experienced it, and it probably didn't feel so good. And there is plenty of situation where things could be handled better, but they don't. And then things are said, and you cannot take what you say back. You can apologize for it, but you cannot go back in time and do a better decision. What you can really do is just make better decisions from then on, But I have, I mean, even well, today, not really. When I mean today, no. But like just recently, I've done some things. I've been trying to change myself as well a lot. I'm way better now. I'm way more calm, way more patient. But back in the day, I've said some stuff that if I could go back in time, I would have never said them. But I was so emotional. I was so impatient that I just really couldn't really help myself, and I don't know. I just when you're impulsive, when you let your anger take control over you, as a man, it's not a very attractive things, not a very attractive thing. But at the same time, it's a very it's almost like you're speaking to a wall, right? Like for example, I think even the way for example, even the way a couple can approach a situation, right? Like if I'm just trying to make my point across, like whether you want to win an argument or not, you want to win an argument, you have to make your point across, right? You want to fix things, you still have to make your point across, right? So regardless whether you just want to fix things or you want to win things, you have to make your point across. You have to put yourself out there, right? Um, but that's where that impulsivity can come from, right? So I think that space is very important, but also the way we are fixing problems. I think if people come more from a place of, look, I want to understand what actually upset you, you know, if I understand what upset you, instead of just telling you what's wrong and what you did wrong, let me ask you why, you know, why you upset, or what made you upset, or how did you end up upset. Um, and I think, because again, like, our partners, they're not just people that we have sex with, that we have kids with, that we sleep with, like, they're also your friends, right? You know, if you turn to a friend and you said, "Oh, you did this, you did that," nah, 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 and you wouldn't listen to them, you wouldn't ask what's wrong, you wouldn't do anything, you think that person would want to be your friend? No. So imagine your wife, or imagine your husband. It's like 100 times more like that, because it's someone you go to every single day, right? So, and also statistically, relationships, people that are in relationships where they have started off as friends tend to last longer, because they bring that friendship towards the relationship, and they just kind of figure things out as they go. Um, and that's also very, very important. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think sometimes the answer is not always space. Sometimes the answer is just, putting it out there, obviously responsibly, right? Not just, recklessly. Um, but sometimes, yeah, the answer is space. I think sometimes people do need to cool down. People need to relax. People need to chillax, right? And just go for a walk. And sometimes like a 10, 15, half an hour walk, it does you better than just bombarding the other person with like loads of shit, you know. So yeah,
I'm going to continue.
yeah,
So, why slowing down helps you truly hear each other? Have
mm,
you ever noticed often when we start preparing our answer before our partner has ever finished speaking? Let's say someone says, I've been feeling overwhelmed lately. And before they are done really sharing what's on their heart, we're already explaining, solving, or defending ourselves.
mm,
But what if we actually slow down? Imagine your partner shares that they've been feeling disconnected. And instead of interrupting them, oh, that's not true, you simply just pause and you actually listen to them, you let them finish, and then
mm,
you ask, can you tell me more about that? Because in that moment, everything changes. One partner feels heard instead of dismissed, and the
mm,
other partner gains understanding they never would have discovered if they had rushed to respond. So sometimes the greatest act of love isn't having the perfect answer, it's making enough space to truly listen to each other. And a good tool for that would be after your partner finishes speaking, pause for a few seconds before responding and then ask, is there anything else you'd like me to understand? Just this one question invites deeper connection. So, a lot of times, rest creates clarity in the relationship. Not every disagreement needs to be solved immediately. Sometimes, what looks like a relationship problem is actually exhaustion. Imagine it's been a long week, you are both tired, work has been stressful, the kids have needed extra attention, you snap over dirty dishes, not because the dishes matter, but because you are both running on empty. And instead of trying to solve everything late at night, you decide to go to bed, get some rest, and revisit that conversation the next day. And the next morning, what felt enormous suddenly feels manageable. One partner might realize that they weren't angry, they were just overwhelmed. And the other partner realizes they weren't being criticized, they were simply hearing stress. So, rest did not solve the relationship, it created the clarity to see the relationship different, right? So, how many of us actually asking ourselves, do we need to solve this right now or do we need to rest first? I feel just by simply asking this question could change completely how we are interacting in our relationship. So, why creating space actually invites that love to grow naturally? Because some of the most meaningful moments in a relationship aren't planned. They are created because there is room for them to be actually received with happiness. Imagine ending each evening by sitting on the porch together for 10 minutes. No phones, no TV, no agenda, just being together. One evening you laugh about something that happened during that day. Another evening you just talk about a dream you've never shared before. Some nights you simply sit in comfortable zone. So those quiet moments become the memories that strengthen a relationship over time. Because love does not grow through grand gestures. It grows in these ordinary moments where two people feel safe enough to simply be themselves. Bruno, would you like to add something?
Yeah, like I don't know if this comparison is gonna make sense or not. I'm gonna try and do my very best. Um, a relationship is like the gym, because in a gym you you build your muscle with your reps, right? You exhaust your muscle, but your muscle actually grows more in rest, right? When you're resting, when you sleep the right hours, right? When you feed it the right nutrients, when you feed it the right vitamins, right? And a relationship is the same thing because you go to work every single day and you build your life just like you build your muscles in gym. But your relationship actually builds in rest when you're together, when you're resting together, right? When you're together, when you're eating together, when you're drinking together, when you're sleeping together, when you're, I don't know, shitting or pissing together, whatever you like to do. But like, and we can never. It's very important to build, you know, your life, your relationship, sure, but it's also very important to know when to, rest. And I think you build both lives when you work, but you build your relationship when you're together and when you rest, or when you do things that can be considered rest, like traveling, right? Like doing stuff together, you know, going for activities, having fun, seeing new things. I don't know, whatever you like to do. And and I think it's very important to understand that space, wanting space, needing space. Sometimes space does wanting or needing space. It's not just people wanting space from each other. Sometimes couples themselves want space from everything else, and they should just, you know, like if you're tired of the way things have been going, life, job, grab your wife, grab your husband. If you have kids, it's a bit more different, of course, but you know, even so, like find a way to maybe take a weekend off, go do something you guys like. Why not? Why not? just go. Because sometimes sometimes you just have to go and do it. You know, like for example, and that's the thing. Like that's not just for relationships, even individual. Like I'll give you my example. I've reached a point now where I I can't. I need a break. Like I am exhausted. I am completely burned out. Like I'm literally I'm talking right now, but I am my eyes are this close to just like I'm literally this close to just falling my back, my hair in the back of my chair and just fall asleep because I am literally exhausted. Um, but for example, I haven't had a holiday for like what, like maybe 8, 9 months, maybe. Like I took my holidays because I had to. But for example, I only take holidays when I like really can't take it anymore. And I'll take maybe 5 days off, 7 days off, and then I go back. Then I do the same thing all over again, right? And I'm gonna go now in 3 weeks. Um, but it's just it's one of the. I'm saying this because if you do that individually, right, then you should do that together as well. And I'll tell you what though, like if you like, I take these holidays now. I don't take that many holidays, but that's because I'm single. So I swear to God, if I had a girlfriend, or if I had a wife, or if I had a girlfriend, I swear to God, I swear to God, like I would, if I had 3, 4 weeks holidays, I would take like I don't know, like 4 days off every 4 months. I would take 4 days off every 2 months, and I just go with her from Thursday to Sunday to some other country, have fun for 4 days, and then come back on Monday and normal stuff again. And just give yourselves like these things, right? Because you gotta have some fun times together, some good times together, and you gotta sometimes you gotta get some space off everything, the both of you. So obviously in the beginning we talked about wanting space from each other. Now I'm saying like and sometimes you both need space from everything else around you. Because things just get too much. Like how many people start off like very nice, and then over the years that they diverge from each other so much that they start forgetting wedding anniversaries, they start forgetting Saint Valentine's Day, because they get so caught up with their fucking work that they just forget about the relationship. And I understand. I understand. I get it. I'm a workaholic myself as well. I understand. I love my work. I love it. I'm a workaholic. I'm always working, always working, always working. I understand what that is. I understand. But you still gotta try and make some time to just yeah, spend time with people that you love, man. Because sometimes like, yeah, they're just gonna, you never know the day of tomorrow. You never know the day of tomorrow. So just try and spend as many quality time as you can with the people that you love the most, especially if it's your wife or your husband. Yeah. And just if you need space from everything else, take space from everything else. If you're capable, if you're able to do that, of course. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to wrap it up. So we often believe stronger relationships come from doing more talking, more fixing, more trying. But sometimes the greatest breakthrough comes from making the space to breathe, the space to listen, the space to rest, the space to trust, the space to simply enjoy being together. Because love does not always grow when life gets louder. Sometimes it grows in the quiet moments we choose to make room for each other. So if that episode really resonated with you, or just, comment something, just, just say resonated, and also share it with somebody who might benefit from that. If you know that somebody is in a relationship, and maybe their personal things, right? Because again, a lot of times people are walking and saying that everything is great, until you really get to know them. But if you feel that this episode might be useful for somebody that you know, please share. And we'll see each other next week on another episode where we continue unpacking different things. Because again, relationship is always something that we can improve on, no matter how great we might feel, because there is another depth level that we can discover. And that's what makes the relationship interesting. Because the minute we say, I know my partner, the universe is going to show you completely different. So have a great, great week, and we'll see each other next Wednesday live. And please share if you feel that this is a great episode. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.